Hi, everybody. This is Maggie and Milo, and thanks for joining me today with the Paint with Maggie lesson here today. We are going to be working on our fall mountain painting today, and it's a very easy, basic beginner painting. I wanted to start off with something very easy, just because this is a very impromptu one, just to test out everything here. And if everything goes accordingly and wow, then we'll just keep on going with this as far as we can. So very easy painting. You're going to need a few supplies today if you're joining with me. So let's talk about paint brushes first of all. So you're going to need a 1 inch wide brush or something that you can fill the canvas with. I'll be using something like this. This one's just slightly smaller, so I'll just probably switch over to one this big. So that's a 1 inch flat brush or just anything big to cover paint over the canvas, just bigger areas. My favorite brush ever is this is the where are you? There you are, 1/2 inch angle brush. So this one's well loved, but uh, just like the shape of it that we can kind of do a little bit more carving in our mountain. We can put in our leaves, we can put the shape of them in a little bit better. Another brush that we'll be using, this is the number 4 round brush. So it's just kind of a nice for a little bit more like the tree trunk branches, like the bigger ones. We can fill those in a little bit better and some smaller detail. And then the very last brush that you'll need, and everybody hates this brush, this is the liner brush. So if you do not like this one, just try and find something that you can use that's going to make really long, skinny lines. Some people use like toothpicks or other things like that. So just try and like think of things that you can use to create long, thin lines. But I do love this brush. Um, and let's see, I think that's about it for paintbrushes. If you don't have those paintbrushes, feel free to improvise. And just because I suggest these brushes doesn't necessarily mean they work the best for you. I want you to pick something that works the best for you. You also need a jar of water to clean your brushes out with. A palette, I'm going to be using this kind of sectioned off palette, styrofoam palette here. You can feel free to use anything you want. Some people use like glass trays. This is kind of a little bit more fancier. This is palette paper, but don't be afraid to use anything. You can even use just a glass plate and then just clean it off after. Okay, and then you'll also need a canvas. I am going to flip you over to this camera here. All right, so let's talk about our paint since we talked about our brushes. So I'm going to just put the paint out as I'm going to be using it. So I have primary colors. These are not expensive paint colors by any means. This is the Artist Loft Brilliant Blue, so a basic primary blue. I've seen it called like phthalo blue, just a nice, pretty basic primary blue. And then white, basic white, again, just from Artist Loft. When it comes to learning, don't spend a lot of money on expensive paints because we're learning, right? This is the red, it's brilliant red. So again, just a basic primary red. That's probably a little too much. Okay. Yellow is again, brilliant yellow. I don't think I showed you the red. Let me just put red back up there. So that's the red and the yellow. Okay. And we are going to use possibly 2 other colors. Or actually, no, we will also use black as well. All right, so I have a big jug of black here, but just basic black. So you can see we're just using the primary colors. So we're just trying to keep everything very simplified for this particular lesson. So we are going to do lots of color mixing, but very basic beginner color mixing. All right, so we only have 5 colors to work with, so we can do this, right? All right, just get our paint out of the way. You can go ahead and put your brushes into the water. I want to. Okay. All right. So let's talk about how we are going to approach this painting. I actually have the original here. So let's put the original up here. It's had a little bit of love and abuse, so it's okay to have a new one put out, make a new one here. So we're going to start by doing our sky here. So we're going to start by doing this lighter blue, kind of towards the middle. And then we're going to kind of gradually add in, and you're going to notice I'm putting my hand this way because this is the way I want my brush strokes to kind of go. So we're going to start with this light color. We're going to work in some darker blue. And as we're working up the canvas, we're going to keep on going a little bit darker and a little bit darker. And that's going to kind of create that very soft effect back here because we want something to kind of give this mountain some kind of love and attention that like softer blue area is going to kind of draw your eye in here. So then after, of course, we put our sky, and then we are going to move on to this sky right here. So this is where we're going to put in our angle brush. We're going to start working in our angles this way to kind of carve it. You'll see when we get into painting, but what we'll do is you'll kind of put the angle of the brush want to paint. So you'll notice I'm kind of pulling my paintbrush this way so that I'll make that angle that way. And as I put my brush this way, that'll change the angle to that side. And then we'll kind of lay just a foundation color in, and then we'll come back and we'll add some nice pretty highlights to make it look soft and a little bit more realistic. And while we have the blue, we'll work in this light blue kind of water area in here and kind of want to make it look like this light is casting down here. So it's a little bit more light on this side and a little bit darker on this side. While these two areas are drying, we're going to pop in, this will be the scary part, we're going to add in quite a bit of dark color in here. So we're going to make a really kind of dark brown black color. And we'll also put that in here, and it's going to be scary because we need to have that color, that dark color, so that way we can lay in some of our lighter colors on top. So that way it kind of has that look of a little bit more dimension to it. Also too, while we have that dark color out, I like to kind of just keep moving forward. If you have a paint color and you have it on your brush, you might as well use it. So again, we'll have that dark color, and then we'll just start working in our tree branches. Now keep in mind with the tree branches, you don't want to go too crazy because we're going to have to add our leaves in here. So we might do a little bit of a tango dance on the leaves, but the leaves and their branches will kind of be in there next. And then the last little bit will be just finishing everything up. So it will be literally just kind of adding in these highlights in the mountain, popping a bit more color in the leaves, adding some grass in our kind of our background land here, and then putting some of our forward grass in. So we have a 2-hour window, so we are going to just pop in here, and we're just going to get her done. All right, so let's grab a drink of water. Get our painting out of the way. I'm just gonna hang it up here. I just like to have it on as a reference. I can see what's up. All right, so let's start. We're gonna get our big wide brush, and we're gonna kind of pounce it in the water. And we just got it nice and soaking wet. So we are going to start with a bit of white. So you're gonna see, I'm just gonna take my palette and take a bit of white. You can kind of see I'm scooping off to the side. I want to keep some of that white. So try not to do swirl, do swipe. Swiping's in, swirls are out. All right, so we're going to take a little bit of that blue. And you're going to still do that flipping back and forth. Oh, that's a little too bright, so I'm going to take a little bit more white. I want it really soft. Okay, maybe even a touch more white. I'm going to even just come over here. That's a little bit like a baby blue color. All right, nice and baby blue. Let's talk about putting that kind of in the middle now, very ish. You're gonna notice I'm holding my brush kind of like this way to start off with. That's just kind of giving me my center point for myself on where I'm kind of going from the sky up. Okay, so now that I kind of have that, I'm going to turn my brush to the side and do kind of these big wipes. Just wipe the brush off and go from side to side. You got your color too dark. That is okay. All you're going to do is you're just going to pick up some just white paint. Don't pick up any other color. Just pick up that white paint. You can kind of blend it in to the color that's already there. Put more white. You want it nice and soft. You want to almost make it look like we've got mist, like a little foggy morning coming off of that water even. And it's probably going to get covered up and that's okay, but we just want to start it off nice and soft. Just trying to wipe off some of that extra paint on my brush. And again, once you get it nice and soft, you can kind of go back and forth to kind of level out the color. Now we're going to get a little darker. So we're going to take a little bit more of that blue and mix it in. You can kind of leave it a little not overly mixed on your brush. So it's kind of like not crazy mixed. I'm going to go a little bit higher and then I'm going to work down into that white. I went a little too far, but that's okay. That might be just a little too bright. So I just picked up some more light color. Okay. And pick up more of this light color. Got a little too dark, so I'm just kind of blending it out. And if your brush is not moving in the paint, that means your paintbrush is too dry. So just get it back into that water, kind of like go back and forth into the paint again. All right, that's looking a little bit better. And again, I'm just going back to the water just to pick up some more because my paintbrush is really dry. It's very dry in here. We have to have the heaters going. It's super cold out. Okay, soften that color out just a little bit. Now I'm going to get a little bit darker. Go back into that color. I just added a little bit more blue. Again, every time I kind of get it nice, I kind of go back and I'll do like really light, very like you're just kind of kissing the canvas and you're just kind of softly spreading it out. Okay, so we have that color. Let's add a little bit more, just a little at a time. So you can see I'm just got my brush, little at a time, little dab will do ya. You can see it just changes it like again to like just a little bit darker. I want it gradual here, not like crazy. So just gradual. Okay. Just gonna get that darker color up in there. A little bit of white on my brush. So if I got a little dark, it kind of helps me soften it up a little bit. Get my brush wet back again. Okay, I'm just gonna get a little bit more blue. Again, just kind of keep mixing it into your pile. Just keep mixing it into the same pile. Don't start a new pile. And you don't need a lot. I see like lots of people swirling the paint. You don't need a lot of paint. Okay, looking pretty good. And if it's not like overly perfectly mixed and you have like little streakies kind of happening in it, that's okay. Let's see like this kind of looks like maybe like a little soft cloud in there. Just kind of let it happen. Again, just kind of going back in. A nice bright blue sky. A little bit more in this corner here. All right. So now I don't do my edges because I paint a lot. And these are like sample paintings. But if you feel the need to paint your edges, I would highly recommend you go ahead now and just kind of paint your edges and just touch them up and make sure that they look pretty good from the side. Okay, so that looks pretty a-okay. So while we're at it, we're just gonna kind of like you can paint in here if you accidentally go ahead, but we're just gonna start doing our water here now. So we kind of want to shift it just a little bit. So we want to start lighter again. So we want to pick up that light color. So here we're just picking up that light blue. It's kind of like my brush is still dirty, but I've got lots of white in it. And I'm just going to start kind of like in here. And you're going to notice I'm not doing this way anymore. I'm holding my brush this way. We want to just kind of imitate the water. So we're just going to kind of do softly this way, maybe a bit more white. You don't want it to be like perfect over here. Like you want to make it look like waves. So it's okay if it's got like a little not perfectly like not smooth, I guess I should say, not smoothened out. Okay. Now, the thing with the water is it's a reflection of the sky, but it also is a little bit of a deeper color. So here's where it gets a little scary. We're going to start adding some red into this blue because we need to shift it just a little bit. So be very, very careful. Take a little bit to start, like a little bit, a very, very little bit. And you're going to mix it over on this side first. Yeah, and you can see like it just got dirty, right? Just change the water to like a dirtier blue color. That's perfect. That's kind of what we're looking for. So see how it's like a little bit on the deeper side. Now when we put, oh, that's just a little bit too bright. Just added a bit more water into it. So now I'm just kind of taking my brush and I'm just kind of pulling in this way because I want to still make it look like I've got waves. So we are going to kind of just fill this all in. But if you keep holding your brush like this, every now and again, if you get to like a part where it's not doing anything, see how it's kind of like stumbled right here? Maybe not. Oh, all right, that's better. There's like a little area right here that's not quite perfect. I'm just going to kind of force it. We're going to pick up a little bit of paint, just kind of tickle it back and forth over that little spot. And then it'll just kind of soften out. And I'm doing really light. I'm not doing heavy-handed. Just kind of letting the paintbrush do what it wants to do. Okay. Okay, we gotta come down a little bit farther. We gotta come down here. So I'm gonna kind of lay in that color a little bit faster. All right. Now this color has to live in a couple other places. So let's just make sure we're kind of putting it in the air. Picking up some more water. I might even add just a bit more red again. So just be very careful. Same amount, like a little corner of the brush. A little bit more blue. Maybe another corner. So I want it a little darker. There we go. Yeah, that's better. We're gonna get it a little bit darker. Yeah, but this is a good start. You see, I'm just going back and forth and just kind of letting the canvas take what it wants. And when it comes to like getting over here in the side, just really softly kind of blend it into what you got there. So really soft. So you're gonna see if I go like this versus going like that. Go like this to that. So really soft to really hard. I want to do soft. Okay. I'm just doing it really lightly. Let's add a bit more. It's looking too much the same color. So every time it looks a little too much the same, I just pick up a different color. Yeah, let's go a little bit lighter in here. There we go. A bit more red and a bit more blue. There we go. Okay, I'm just going back to some more water here again. Just you'll notice that if it's not moving that paint, you need to kind of get it to move. So it's either two things, water or paint. So if you already have paint on your brush and it's not doing anything, that means you need water. All right, I'm going to take this darker color that I just picked up and I want it more up here because that is where we're going to have that land kind of coming out, and I want to kind of make it look like it's reflected. Now it's got pretty dark over in here. I'm going to put a little bit of white, soften this out. And do like that line there. So I'm just going to kind of carry it over to in there. So just add some more white. So a little tango dance back and forth, just a little bit. Okay. This darker color over here. This is the reflection, the shadow part of the tree branches. Yeah, that is pretty okay. So that's a pretty good. I just want it to look like water. I feel like that's accomplished. And again, it's just got to be very, very close idea of water. And that's pretty good. I'm okay with that. We might tweak it later, but it's pretty okay. Now, before you move on to anywhere else, you want to make sure that this part of your painting is dry. It is dry. I just touched my finger from the black paint in there. So, but that's okay. Life happens. All right. So we're gonna start doing our mountain. So you gotta kind of envision how your mountain is gonna look, where you want to place it. I have mine kind of centered-ish, so that way the mountain kind of looks like it's in the middle, it's the focus. We have a kind of land coming around here. I can kind of drape in my trees over and such. But if you feel like your mountain is over here, and maybe you have this landmass here, and you want to kind of make more of your tree branches a different way, feel free. This kind of is a very adaptable painting. So I just want you to kind of envision on how your mountain looks. So let's grab that angle brush. Oh, there it is. Nice. Okay. So we had kind of this color here. We want to have kind of like around this color, like a medium blue color. You might even already have it on your palette. So like this is pretty dark, but if I took some white to it, like that's not horrible. Maybe I'll throw a bit of blue. I want a little bit on the bluer side. Okay, that's pretty okay. And now again, it's kind of one of those things is we can always build up the color. We can always add a shadow. We want just kind of a medium color, our medium mid-ground color. And then we're just going to start shaping our mountain. So how does your mountain look? You can do like a triangle, you can do another triangle, but I like to kind of add a little bit more white in there. It's not showing up very good. Okay, and always go bigger. You can't go smaller. So I'm gonna say like that's the start of the peak of it. Okay, cool. Right, right. So what happens if we just kind of like give them a little something like that? That's okay. Okay, adding just a bit of white. All right, so we are going to just keep working on our mountain here. Sorry about that. So we're just going to take that same kind of like coloring that we had here. Just as you're going, you can kind of adjust anything that you just didn't like. I'm going to give this guy a little bit more of a little thing here. Maybe leave off of this one. And it's just take it down to the water level. My too dark. Flattening it out. Just fill this in again. We're going to just add a bit more detail on it after the fact. Just a little bit. Okay, and let's well, one second. And it's a bit darker down towards the bottom. Let's just make sure it's lighter on the top and a little darker on the bottom. You're gonna notice I just kind of keep pushing in colors, getting it in there. It doesn't have to be like perfect this time. We just want a basic color. Oh, that's looking pretty nice. Okay, let's kind of pop a little bit more white on this side just so that way we can tell that we have a little different mountain peak right there. Okay, and then I'm gonna do maybe he needs a little. I'm gonna tweak this painting already. We're gonna come up like that. So we got like maybe we'll call them the Three Sisters. I know there's like a mountain range in Alberta that's called the Three Sisters, so we'll just kind of maybe call it like that. I'm just gonna add a little bit of a darker color in here. Just kind of like whatever color I had on my palette is just a little bit darker. Okay, that's pretty okay. Again, it'll kind of take a little bit more shape as we layer some color on top. So let's just kind of let this guy do his thing. And as it dries, you'll notice the coloring will shift and it will look a lot nicer. Okay, so next step we are going to do is going to be, actually, let's put in our leaves next. So that way we can add in our branches and such to them. Okay, so for our leaves, they look almost like a hand. Uh, so they are going to have kind of like one down the middle, and then two, and then three. So, or sorry, one, two, three, four, five. Again, they're going to be colored by like a bunch of different shapes. So if they are like by the branches, so if they don't look completely perfect, that's okay. So I'm going to start out with more of an orange color first. So I thought like yellow, a bit more red into it. So that's a pretty nice yellow, kind of like a nice orangey yellow. Add a little bit of white into it. Just a bit of white. And that's going to just help us coat that orange paint over top of this blue. Okay, so then you just got to decide where you want it to go. So I'm going to go with that. It's a bit more white. Sometimes it just doesn't get a little in there too well. Where you're going to go. Okay, we're going to kind of add in more color as it dries. We just need the basic color for now. I'm going to actually switch to a round brush here. Just feel like I'm struggling with this one a little bit. Okay, so here we go. That's better. That's kind of more like what I'm looking for. That's how I only did 4, but like again, I just want to make sure that they're the right coloring, or not the right coloring, the right uh, kind of pattern or the styling is right. And you're gonna see I keep picking up different colors because I want it to be different every time. Yeah, I'm gonna put a big one in here. So I'm gonna do keeping a little bit more pointed towards the end. And I'm gonna put next one kind of here. This one this way. Here we go. I'm just gonna kind of switch back to different color. I'm just kind of switching back to that yellow color. Maybe there's another one like right here. I always say like start off on the side because sometimes you're just not happy with the ones you had. If you start off on the side, they're not like your focal ones. You kind of get better as you start doing them. See, I'm already even doing a little bit better than the last time I did them. Maybe there's one over here. That's pretty okay. Maybe there's Make them, if you're like struggling with the shape, you can make them however you like, as long as you kind of making some sort of leaf-ish shape. It could even be flowers if you're like, nah, I don't know what's happening here. Just make them into flowers. You can always like use your finger. Nice. That's looking pretty good. I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow ones on this side. Maybe a bigger one. I haven't done a big one for a bit. Need to kind of balance it. Doing kind of an upside down one here. It's not going to be a big one, but maybe just. And then I'm just picking up some color every now and again. I'm just adding it over top. I want to add that little pop of color. There you go. On these oranger ones, just adding a little extra red in there. And then we'll add some yellow in. And then by the time we come back, these should be relatively dry. And then it's add a little. This is a little extra one I haven't added. Maybe just a little couple falling petals. Okay, cool. All right. It's looking pretty okay, right? Right. All right, let's clean out that angle brush. I'm going to add in this lead and see how I'm probably going to cover up this little mountain, but if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. Sometimes that's the beauty of it all. All right, so we are going to make a really dark color. So you pick the 3 darkest colors on your palette. We're not going to use too much black. So we are going to take some red and we're going to take some blue and we're going to make a really dark purple. A little bit more red. Okay. Made a smidgy of black, and we're just gonna throw a little bit of yellow in there. Why not? Why not? Okay, that's looking pretty okay. It's like a really dark green color. It's like that. So we basically took that, and that, but mostly those 2 colors. Tiny bit of black, tiny bit of yellow. Okay, so let's do this part here. So we want to kind of break this shape up in here. Just taking my angle brush and just kind of making a line with it. The water's pretty level, so it doesn't have to be too perfect along the bottom, but for the most part, land is pretty straight. So just try and keep it not going uphill, not going downhill. Make sure you're just kind of keeping it level. If you have to use a ruler, you can use a ruler. No harm in it. Okay, we're just gonna cut some little fork. Make a little rolling hill. The same color again. All right, so dark color, red and blue, a bit of that black, not a lot, and a little bit of yellow. It's gonna look like a really dark bluish screen. Okay, nothing here. Okay, now we're going to make this little thing. Anytime somebody's like, I can't do the color mixing because I can't make the same color. Don't worry about making the same. Just get it the color, the darkness that you need, and then we can figure out the color after that. If it's like a little on the purple side, that's okay. As long as it's like this dark color. Exactly what we want. Nice dark. We don't see any of that light kind of peeking through on the under layer. I'm just leveling out the paint so I don't have any big holes of paint for it to dry. All right, see, now it's starting to come together. Now we're gonna do this piece down here. Let's cover that in. Let's not waste our time. So we are going to go back to the big brush. Clean my brush out really, really well. Let's make a lot of this color now. So you want to take some of the blue, some of the red, mix that together, mix a little bit of the black, and take a little bit of the yellow. Cool. A little bit more on the green side, sure. All right, so we're just gonna go to 10. We're gonna fill in this section here. Okay, and we're gonna kind of take our brush again this way. I know the color already. Okay, get that off there. Okay, that is pretty good. Okay, so we need that dark color in order to put our light colors on top. So now that we can see our mountain, let's go back to our mountain here. Now we can see if we need to do anything to our mountain before I put those tree branches in. All right, I'm gonna pop a little bit more white. And then I'm just gonna turn my palette around because I got the clean white on this side. I'm going straight to white. If it's got like a little bit of blue left over from the water, that's okay. But just looking at some white, I'm gonna just kind of pop in very light strokes. Adding some white. Maybe on it's that mountain there. Maybe a little bit on this side of this one because the light's kind of coming this way. And you want to kind of pop that light in there. Okay, that's looking pretty okay. There's a little light bouncing off of this guy, maybe. Okay, let's go to a little bit of a darker color now. Just clean my brush out a little bit. Now I want to take some of this blue, some red. Remember, that's how we made that darker color. So we want it still blue, just darker. And then we're going to take a little bit of or white, sorry, white. Oh, sorry, my head keeps hitting the thing. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's make it a little darker in here. A couple dark spots in here. A little darker on this side just because the mountains are a little bit more cast shadow on that one. Okay, a little bit dark down here. And oh, that's okay. All right, that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Just gonna again go back to some white, little tango dance back and forth. Gonna pick up a little bit more white now, soften some of the harsh lines out. That's a little bit better. Just going over some of these areas. Oh, I want to pick up a little bit more white here. All right, now we'll do the same thing over here. I just want to pick up a little bit more. Oops. And wasn't the same color, so it's just go back to your palette. Okay, that's looking pretty okay. Just kind of take a step back every now and again and see if it looks pretty good. I'm pretty okay with that. I'm thinking that's looking nice. Just a little bit down in here. There. Very nice. Okay. Sweet. Put a little bit of a top in there. Must have had a lot of space. Hey, that's okay. That looks better. Okay. So now we can come back to our grass in this one in our little mountain back here. Because now that we've got the background mountains done, now we can start adding some more to it. So we're going to kind of make this kind of grassy color. So grass is kind of like blue and it's yellow, but we're also going to kind of keep it on like that deeper kind of muted color. So we're going to take the blue and the red and the yellow. Okay, so we got like this color. So we got blue, red, and yellow. I want to add a little bit of white to it to see. Oh, I want a bit more yellow and maybe a little bit more. Okay, that's the right color. But see, it's too bright a little bit, so we're going to add a little bit of red back in there. That's okay. A bit more red. Like almost like brownier. Like we want it to look like it's not that pretty. Farther away. We're just gonna add a little bit. Here. All right. So you want to kind of just do light little brush strokes. Kind of turning my brush as I go, but really kind of just using the very tip of it, like mostly like that. Kind of making it look like grass, leaving some areas dark. Now, if it looks like it's always the same color, you don't want to always use the same color. So make sure you're kind of like taking some of this color, putting it in different areas because we don't want to just keep the same color because otherwise it's going to look like it's all the same. We don't have levels, we don't have highlights, we don't have different things happening. So I'm just adding some color in there. Sure, that looks good, right? So while we have this color on our brush, we do need to just kind of use some of it up. So you might as well just kind of start just kind of adding, just kind of wiping it off. Show you like some dark areas. Doing like little swipes. And as like the colors mixing in with the other colors that are on the brush, you can see it's kind of just adding different little highlighted areas. See, that's looking pretty okay already. Just keep going. You need to fill in a lot of this space, so just keep getting rid of it off of your brush. See, that's pretty okay. Nice. Okay, not too pretty yet. So my brush is just getting a little dry. I'm just gonna put some water back over here. Now I want maybe a bit more red because I want to maybe make it a little bit browner. And then I'm gonna add a bit of white. And making sure you're leaving some areas that are dark because we want to make it look like we're clipped. So I'm kind of just doing like little swipes, swiping down, kind of like to the side. Let's add a bit more yellow in this time. Just kind of emulate that we got like grass up here. So Nice. Okay, let's add this color a little bit more on the green side. And go back to like maybe yellow, some red, and then some blue. Maybe darken it up a little bit, just a little bit of black. All right, looks pretty okay. Just picked up a bit more, kind of like this color, just mixed it in with a bit of my brush. We'll just give it a little bit of a highlight on some areas that the sun might be bouncing off of a bit. All right, so that's kind of our background. You can see how it just kind of popped out a little bit. So now I still have this left over on my brush. Let's get rid of some of it. So just kind of doing kind of like pounces up, swiping down into that darker area. Again, got it on your brush. You're gonna probably make that color down here anyway, so you might as well just get rid of it off of your brush. All right, that's looking pretty okay. I think my brush has gotten rid of everything it can get rid of off of there. Nice. Okay. Let's just keep going with the grass because this is looking pretty almost done. So we have like this color here. This is kind of like the colors that we're looking for minus white because we want this a little bit on the lighter tone because it's forward. We're going to take our angle brush and again, just kind of, that's a little too bright. Let's go back to some of the green. You can see I'm going up into the water this time. Just kind of because I have that lighter color, it's making it look like I've got grass. So grass blows in the wind, so make sure you're adding some grass in different directions. Kind of turning the brush so doing it different angles. Really soft, so I'm not pushing hard or any pressure at all. Just adding a little bit at a time. Just do a little section. And once you have like one section that you like, just keep moving down the line. Let's add a little bit more of this lighter color back in. A little scary using some of these brighter colors, but you do definitely need that little punch of that white highlight just to kind of make it look like you've got grass. That's another, except for that one. And sometimes you might have that spot. That's okay. You just need a bit more water on your brush. And just kind of I don't know, whatever this color is, I'm swirling it in and then I'm just adding a bit of white into it. And then I'm just kind of swiping back into that darker color so then that way I can kind of mute it down. Let some areas a little bit darker, some areas a little bit lighter. Okay. Always just kind of going back to like a darker color if you want kind of soften anything out. Getting your muscle work out for getting that grass in there. Every now and again, you'll see me kind of revert back over to a different spot that just might need a little extra love in the spot or something, just need some different color. And you want to kind of make it look like you've got kind of different levels of that grass. I've taught this class a couple times. Everybody seems to do very, very well. Going back to like this color, throw some more this time. I'm just throwing a little bit of maybe this red color in there, and just because there's red up in those branches. There's no more red anywhere else. It's kind of the and over here. So we have continuity and some violence. That's looking pretty okay. And a couple little highlighted branches or whatever you want to call them here. Just add a little bit of interest. Bit more white on my brush there. Just add a little more swipes. Take a look at it now. Just kind of standing back. I'm kind of putting myself farther back now and looking at the painting and just seeing if there's anything that I need to add. That looks pretty okay, actually. Let's just call the grass pretty good. I'm happy with that. Okay. Now let's go to these tree branches. These tree branches are not going to take that much time at all. We're going to clean our brush really, really well. Okay. I'm using the angle brush again just because I want to get in this darker color in pretty quickly. So we're going to make orange. So orange is red and yellow, mostly a little bit more on the red side this time. Yellow and add a little bit of black. Okay. Okay, boom. There's some brown. Okay, we want it a little on the darker side. So I don't know. There's this color here. So nice. Okay. That's a pretty good color. A bit more black in there. Okay. So let's make our tree branch. So I don't care where the leaves are so much as I want my tree branches to be in a spot where it looks really nice. So I'm going to start over here, ignoring the leaves. Always make the branches go to the leaves. Okay. Okay. And let's pick another spot. Maybe it cuts through this one. Okay, we want this a little bit thicker on this side. And ignore any of those branches. Okay, now that's pretty good. I'm going to switch to my round brush now. And we'll finish up ends on these guys. Okay, I always kind of recommend you follow the tree branch back in so that way you can see that it has a nice flow to it. Tree branches kind of do flow. Let's kind of see. And then let's go maybe tree branch and through this way. See, we just gotta ignore the leaves and just kind of make the tree branch where you want it, and then you can kind of just make the tree full well. That's better. Just gonna get the bigger ones in, and then we have our detail brush that we still have. Then we can finesse things a little bit. I might have got a little away on me, but that's okay. And if your hand's shaky, will make the best trees. I promise you that. Maybe like switch over to the detail brush now. This is a little liner brush. And I don't know, I'm just gonna come down. Make a little Y on the end. Maybe there's another one that way. Okay. And this guy here. A little. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, let's just take a quick little assessment, but I think that is the painting today. Let me just take a look. Nice. Yeah, we got everything today. All right, so that is the painting. I'm just gonna turn the camera back over to me for a second. Awesome. All right. Well, I just wanted to say thank you everybody for joining me for a fun paint night. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did and you really want to see more of these lessons, please go ahead and leave a comment below, or just send me a message. I would love to hear from you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.